we are connecting to a tradition which has persisted for over 2,500 years. So it's so important that we connect it with respect and with a lot of understanding. So I'm very pleased to see all of you sitting beautifully and having taken the time early in the morning to come here and to participate in this retreat. So first of all, it's really important that we give credit to ourselves. It's, sometimes we give credit to everybody else, but there is a person forgotten, and that is ourselves, yourselves. You just got up early morning and thought of dedicating a full day for a wonderful cause, that is this, retreat in veneration, and, connecting to that, long tradition of meditation, mindfulness. So you made all that effort. And the virya, so effort is so precious. And that our effort has been very nicely collaborated by the people who actually made this possible, sort of inviting me over to come all the way from UK, and also doing a lot of preparations, few days. They have worked hard. So let's hold all of them in our thoughts, in our hearts, in gratitude. So the very first lesson that the Buddha taught to the world was by sitting in front of the papal tree, which actually gave shade to his enlightenment. So he said, Katanyo katavedi puggalo dullabho lokasmi. In the world, people are rare who actually holds gratitude, give credit. So, and that lesson should not be forgotten. Yeah? Even the tree which actually provided the shade is being respected, venerated, even to the day. Yeah? So it's a whole tradition of expressing gratitude to oneself and to the others. So that actually forms a part of our practice. This practice is not just sitting down on a cushion and meditating. It's also holding all of this in our thoughts, in our hearts. Yes? Do you agree? Okay. Thank you. So, this morning, we have actually promised to offer you a right mindfulness retreat. So in this first hour, I will just explain to you how we hope to actually spend the day, so that you will know, our whole plan. The first session is from, till about 10 o'clock. We'll actually discuss the nuts and bolts, the basics of what we are going to do and how we do it. Okay? And from 10 to 11, there's another practice session about how mindfulness, right mindfulness, is incorporated into our daily life. So in particular, we talk about, as we walk, as we talk, as we move about, how do we actually just make it part of us rather than a practice, then you become one with the practice. So usually we have actually certain practices. Only when we practice, we say, you go to the gymnasium and you actually build your muscles, and that is only, done there. And sometimes to make it worse, people torture their bodies by listening to music. They're not actually paying attention. Yeah? But meditation is not like that. It's actually to be incorporated into everything we do. The Buddha said, Gate, Tite, Nisinne, Sutte, Jagarite, Sampajanakari hoti. As you walk, as you talk, as you move about, you become aware of it. So the Buddha has actually very kindly spelled out all the nitty-gritty details of the practice in one sutta, Mahasatipatthana Sutta. So we are so fortunate to have such a, very detailed, nothing has been left out there, very clearly, precisely stated. So we got to take all of these into our practice. Okay? So therefore we will be kind of focusing on those aspects as we go along. But to start with, there are kind of fundamentals in meditation. So even in the Anapanasati Sutta, the Buddha actually explains even the posture. Yeah, let's talk about three important things in meditation. Okay? So what are the three things? Obviously the first thing is the mind, yes? The mind. So the mind is an important, but even the body, you can't forget the body, okay? You can't meditate without your body. So body, mind, what is the other one? Sorry? Feelings. Yeah, sorry? Action, or yes. Yes. But there is one other important aspect that we often forget. Breath. Yeah. Anapanasati. So the mindfulness of breathing. Yeah? I mean, breathing is something we forget. I hope you don't forget to breathe. But it's so naturally, it happens to us, so therefore we don't pay attention to it. But as a meditator, we always have to pay attention to our breathing. Yeah? So, and you should know some things about breathing. Okay? And let's take the first thing, body. Okay? So the Buddha says, Ujung kayang panidhaya parimukhang sating upattapetva. So the body should be uju. Uju means in Pali erect or upright, in an upright position, but not too stiff. Don't make it too stiff and too uncomfortable. Okay? And not too sloppy. Yeah, don't look like that. Yeah, so something which is actually comfy, very comfortable posture. If you develop that initially, and it actually, is very good for longer meditation. If somebody really understands meditation, a person will actually meditate for hours and hours. The jhanic state. And even in that state, you have to keep your body in a proper position. So therefore, it's important that we actually pay attention to the body initially. Yeah? So, ujung kayang. So the back is upright, but the front is relaxed. The back is upright, the front is relaxed. Yeah? So I can see, most of you, all of you, actually having a good posture. Yeah? Some are even having, half lotus, full lotus, whatever, whatever is comfortable. That's really important. And if you have difficulty in, having a proper, lotus position, you don't really have to. Yeah, a comfortable chair. The most important thing is your body is comfortable, your mind is comfortable. Okay. So and one other thing about the neck. And this is where most people actually go wrong. Yeah? We have the TV neck. Okay? We just actually hang our neck on our, belly, like actually shoulders like that. And that is going to, be really problematic. So the neck should be really comfy, but it's aligned with your shoulders. Yeah? Not hanging. If you were to hang, how many kilos is your head? Have you weighed your head? You haven't. So at least, let's say 5 kilos. I mean, just imagine hanging 5 kilos on the neck. It's not healthy. So, ujung kayang panidhaya parimukhang sating upattapetva. The Buddha said, have a nice, comfortable, upright position, aligning the neck with the shoulders. Yeah. So now, we have got our bodies, pretty much, and don't also worry too much about, like when you actually form a posture, don't start thinking, how long am I going to be able to sit like this? Yeah? And the pains start, No, you don't really have to worry about those things. Once you form your posture, just stick to that. Okay? So, it's the mind which really matters. When the mind is firm, the body supports it. So, and not every few minutes, don't start thinking about, am I going to be able to, sit longer, like that. No. Yeah? Just be. So, bhavana, bhavana, the word is very, very meaningful. It comes from the root bhu. Bhu is to cultivate. Yeah? Bhu bhavane. So, and you are cultivating the body, cultivating the mind, and it's a process. So in the process, we we actually become more and more perfect. Yeah, and also be very kind and gentle with yourself. Don't be too tough. I am not the right person to meditate. Like that. Don't think like that. So you are experienced, and you have a lot of Dhamma knowledge and practice. So therefore, and all these things are kind of common sense. Yeah. So body, mind, and the mental aspect that's really, really important. Don't even think about, some people retreat sounds like kind of a very strange thing to do. It's not a strange thing to do. It's a good way to be. Yeah? So it's being and becoming. So therefore, it's not an unusual thing. Okay? So and the breath, the breathing, actually it's very important that actually we start off with a nice breath, feeling the breath. Most people have difficulty in feeling the breath. Yeah. So any questions so far? Anything you would like to ask or clarify? Yes, please. Yeah, the external environment. Yeah, that's a factor, of course, but if it's kind of, and I think we should not worry too much about the external environment, because our mind reacts if it is too hot. So, it's too hot, I can't meditate. Yeah, if it says too cool, so. But just be observant, be aware of that mind. Now, in a retreat, what we really do is we retreat our mind, yeah, and become more and more aware of our own minds. So, and this is the most precious aspect of meditation. That's we, human beings, we are the only animal on the planet to be able to track our own mind. Isn't that amazing? Yeah? So most people do not have that luxury. Yeah? And we, the Buddha, thanks to the Buddha, he has actually told us the importance of, significance of that. Being aware of your mind, minding the mind, that is a skill. That's beautiful skill. So the more you actually befriend your mind, and then the Buddha says, not even your mother, not father, not any of your friends can do that kind of good to yourself. Yeah? Natang mata pita kaira anye vapicha nyataka samma panihitang chittang seyyaso nang tato kare. So this is the words of the Buddha in the Dhammapada. Yeah? And then he say, the same mind become your own enemy when it is misguided. Diso disang yantang kaira. Just like an enemy is doing some enmity towards another enemy, your mind becomes your enemy. And there are actually people in this world like that. You made an enemy of yourself. Yeah? And how sad. Yeah? So we have to befriend our mind. And very gently, don't try to fight with your mind. No. So it's a beautiful, thing that, the more you become aware of your own mind, you make your, mind the closest friend, not really kind of confronting it, but working with it gently. Yeah. So, and that gentleness, that gentle attitude is very important. Yeah, and that is part of our Eightfold Noble Path. Yeah, right attitude. So, and these are kind of very basics about meditation, but these are very important. Sometimes we forget the basics and go to do meditation, and then we really don't do justice to it. So the question is, how do you react to the external environment? Just go with the flow, and like if you feel the heat, don't react to it too much. Okay, and your mind has the ability to adjust itself. And this is the beautiful thing about mind. Even the cold. Yeah. So actually last week I was in a very cold weather, really, cold. Yeah, part of UK, and now I just come here and it's perspiring, really hot, warm. But adjusting, the mind is ready to adjust itself to the environment. Befriending. You are making friends, and I see in this country something really beautiful. So you're trying to make friends with everything. Yeah, your neighbor, your friend, your family, your whoever, and even the environment. So, and that is beautiful. That's lovely. So that forms a part of our upeksha. Yeah? So these are kind of basic aspects of meditation. And, right mindfulness, right. Okay, why am I emphasizing the word right? Are you, do you know about mindfulness? Mindfulness is a very big business. It's a $1 billion industry in the US and in the Western world. In London there was a huge exhibition in an arena. Okay, so people selling a lot of stuff on mindfulness of this and that and the other. So. But that's really wonderful that people are actually clamoring for it. They want mindfulness. But really they don't understand what mindfulness is. Yeah? So they think, mindfulness is, just being here and now. It is this moment, mindfulness. So, but as Buddhist, so I assume all of you are Buddhist. Are you Buddhist? Yeah? Okay, most, But even if you are not, I don't mind, because I mostly speak to non-Buddhists. In the British Parliament, there are actually 115 MPs who wanted to practice mindfulness. And there's a mindful nation. And they recommend mindfulness to different areas like NHS, prison service, education, and criminal justice system, a lot of areas. So if you say mindfulness UK, mindful nation UK, it's the parliament has a kind of a set up a group, working group on mindfulness. Every other day in the House of Lords, House of Commons, there's a session on mindfulness. I mean, all the Lords, come. I teach sometimes Lords, about mindfulness. I mean, so mental health and well-being is a big issue in the world today, right? Now, did you know that heart disease was the #1 killer some time ago? Now, it has been taken over by something else. What is now the #1 killer? Dementia. So what does that really mean? So dementia is the #1 killer because we tend to lose our mind even before we lose our heart. Okay? So there are actually people who lost their mind. Their heart is working. The onset of dementia was like something like 80s, 90s, sometimes. It's a very old man's disease, but not anymore. After 40s, people lose their mind. Yeah? In the Western world, on buses, people are just talking, chatting to themselves, and you can see, they're in their 40s. Yeah? So that is because they didn't know that they had a mind. They didn't work with their mind. If you really practice the mind meditation, one great benefit of it, it will actually last as long as your body. So it will be healthy mind. So the healthy mind is very important, like healthy body. Yeah? So there are more than one reason for us to practice mindfulness. In the modern world, that's why, everywhere in the US, 500 Fortune companies are now, they're advertising, they're marketing mindfulness. Yeah? Because it brings great benefit. Because it's the awareness of yourself, of oneself. It's amazing. But, in Asian countries, we took it for granted. Our ancestors, our forefathers, they did practice mindfulness. And so it's in our bone structure. It's in our, system. So we benefited from that tradition. Yeah? So, very lucky. So, but right mindfulness. I'm giving a talk on the 2 levels of mindfulness, but I'm going to talk about it here as well. The mindfulness has actually, the Buddha actually talks about 2 things. Satipatthana, establishing awareness of things. Satipatthana, right? And that's actually very different thing from the right mindfulness. Satipatthana is a very worldly, basic, practice. Satipatthana. But the real sati is not satipatthana. It's called upattita sati. Yeah, upattita sati. It's a second. That is actually you can look at it as like samatha and vipassana. Yeah, samatha is like basically satipatthana is now I am establishing mindfulness with this object that I am holding. Okay, so I am here. This object is here, and so I am establishing, awareness of this as it is. Okay? That is satipatthana. It's like sharpening your knife. Yeah? Before you cut, what you have to do is you have to sharpen your knife. But that is very worldly thing. That's, for a purpose. But the real purpose is the second level of mindfulness, which is upattita sati. Yeah? Once you establish that mindfulness, you use it for a purpose. Did you get me? Yeah? So, knife, sharpening the knife is one thing. Using it to cut, using it for other purposes is the secondary thing. So that is vipassana. Okay? So, but people confuse the two. In the Satipatthana Sutta, it's very, very clear. The Buddha says, in the awareness of the bodies, the four foundations of mindfulness. So what are the four foundations? The awareness of the body, awareness of the feelings, awareness of the mind, and the awareness of Dhamma, phenomena. Okay? So the four aspects. So awareness of the body, and that has actually six pabbas, 6 sections, right? In all the 6, so it is establishing that awareness of the object, like sharpening the knife. It's important. Yeah? So, now when we breathe, digang va asasanto digang asasami iti pajanati. So, as we breathe long, we become aware that we are breathing in long. As we breathe short, we become aware that we are breathing in short. So being aware of the breath and the nature of the breath. And that is satipatthana. Exactly like being aware of an object. Okay? But that is not the be-all and end-all of it. That is the first step in meditation. And that is what the mechanistic mindfulness does in the whole world, and that is fine. That is samatha. But they don't go anything beyond that. And they don't know about the second level of mindfulness. Yeah? So, we incorporate two. So the Buddha actually, first he says, Gacchanto va gacchami iti pajanati. As we go, we become aware of, of the movement. Yeah? Tito va titosmi iti pajanati. Nisinno va nisinnosmi iti pajanati. Yata yata kayo panhito hoti. Tata tatanang pajanati. So it says, being aware of what, as we sit, as we walk, as we talk, as we eat, blah, blah, blah. So, and that is establishing mindfulness. Okay? But then the Buddha actually does not postpone the second one. Straight away say, iti ajjattang va kaye kaya anupassivya. Bahiddha va kaye kaya anupassivya. Ajjatta bahiddha va kaye kaya anupassivya. Samudaya dhamma anupassiva kaya. Vaya dhamma anupassiva kaya. Samudaya vaya dhamma anupassiva kaya. Atti kayo tiva paran satipacchupattita hoti. Yavadeva jnanamattaya patisatimattaya anistitoja viratena chikinchi loke upadi. So he actually, right then and there, he introduces the vipassana. Okay? And that is the cutting part of the knife. Okay? So, and when we actually understand the satipatthana in this way, we don't confuse the two. The right mindfulness is actually the second level. Once you really get to the second level, you become more aware of the first level. Yeah? And you actually even cancel out the first level, And I'll come to that later. So right mindfulness is a program, it's a plan, it's a beautiful journey that the Buddha has very nicely set out. So therefore, we got to actually follow the steps in the same way as the Buddha has really spelled it out. Okay? Any questions so far? Yeah, yes, indeed. Yeah, so, the translating, that translation is a big issue in Pali. I never recommend reading translations. And I even told Bhikkhu Bodhi about some of the, kind of, we really do not get the exact meaning in translation. So, this is why we really have to discuss the details, of this vipassana side, yeah? The ajjattang va kai, bahiddha va kai, ajjatta bahiddha va kai, yeah? Samudaya kai, samudaya dhamma, vaya dhamma, samudaya vaya dhamma, So, so these can be just literally, translated, but what it exactly means, you really have to gather from other suttas. To give you a clue, there is one sutta in the Samyutta Nikaya called Pathama Rahogata Sutta. Pathama Rahogata Sutta, where Arahat Anuruddha is actually, he's very well known for contemplation. Anuruddha is thinking one day, hey, if somebody got the mindfulness practice wrong, that person got the Nibbanic path wrong. Yeah? So, if somebody has got the mindfulness path practice right, the person is straight to the Nibbana. And when he was thinking about this, Arhat Mugalan, he's the kind of psychic man, yeah? So he just appears right in front of him, Anuruddha, and says, oh, isn't it amazing, brother, that you really spotted this. So then there is a nice discussion and an explanation of this. What is ajjata? What is bahiddha? What's the ajjata bahiddha? What's samudaya? What's vaya? What is samudaya vaya? So, so perhaps maybe as we go along, we will actually pay a little bit more attention to those words. Yeah. Can you hold that question for a minute? Yeah? Because I don't want to kind of rush into it. So, the details need to be really researched properly and written properly. There is one German monk called Analayo Bhikkhu who has done some research on mindfulness, but even he does not make a reference to these crucial sutta, unfortunately. But I mean, he's actually bringing the questions very clearly and discussing in his PhD dissertation. So, if you want to read, Satipatthana, so it says actually direct path to Nibbana or something. Yeah. But this is also, there's a bit of a controversy over ekayano ayang bhikkhave maggo. The Buddha says the ekayana, actually in Pali ekayana means not direct path, only path. Okay? Eka ayana. Ekayano ayang bhikkhave maggo sattanang visuddhya. The Buddha says this is, O monks, is the only path, only way. But most Westerners do not want to use the word only because it gives, Buddhists the prerogative. Only Buddhists know the mindfulness. Oh, they can't, it can't be. So they say direct path, but that is actually completely wrong. Okay? So this is the path, only path. There is no other way. And so this is why it's so important that we understand that path really well. Okay? So we got 4 more minutes before we get to the second step. Any more questions about the basics? Right mindfulness. So I would like you to actually ponder over the word right, because there are a lot of wrong things, and they think, we are doing vipassana when we are doing samatha. But as Ajahn Chah says, the samatha vipassana can be combined, as well. One can practice in combination. Okay? So, but how do if you really do not know the whole program, the plan of the Buddha, then you don't know how to combine. Okay, it's like engineering. You really have to know the full story to be able to properly mix it. Okay, so we will actually get to that as we go along. But the first things first, and now we have been sitting for about 1 hour. Well done. And okay, sir. Yeah.
Basically, I have 2 questions. One is in the Satipatthana Sutta, you refer to the body. Is it referring to the breath alone, or is it the whole body? Second question is, it touches on the internally and externally. What does it mean?
Yes, very good question. So when you say body, does it refer to the physical body or the breathing body? Yeah, actually, in the Anapanasati Sutta, there is a reference. It says the breathing itself is a body. So it's a breathing body. To give the short answer, but the body is being used kaya. The Pali word kaya is aggregate. It's again not same as the body that we refer to. Body of something, it's like, the body of the talk. When we say the body of the talk, so it's the kaya means that aggregate. Yeah. So and that is how we should take in the Pali as well. It's the aggregate of things. So when we breathe, actually we are breathing in every pore of our body. Yeah. So the breathing body is same as the physical body. Somebody can argue, but so we are thinking of just this physical part only because that's how we kind of refer to our body. Yeah. So because in meditation we actually become more aware of the breathing, feeling. One can also say feeling body. Breathing body as well as feeling body. Yeah. So is it the same body? And sometimes maybe you are not feeling every part of your body. Yeah, especially if it is numb or something. But the feeling body, breathing body, kind of it is the mass, the aggregate that we are working with. That's in general term what kaya, kaya, sakkaya. Kaya is that aggregate. So later on, when you get to the vipassana, that becomes very clear. There is nothing to be taken as a body, whether it's breathing or otherwise, because atthikayoti va panasa satipachupattita hoti yavadeva jnanamattaya. Just for the reference purpose, we take this, aggregate, this unit, something like that. Yeah. So, in ultimate sense, there is nothing to be taken as you really realize that this whole mass of body that we are, it does not really hold into anything. Okay, so that is the vipassana aspect. Okay, those are very good questions. So as we go along, hopefully, by the end of the day, you will be teaching me everything about right mindfulness. Okay, that's a big promise. Okay, so but the word right is very important because it actually refers to the holistic part of mindfulness. Holistic, because the Western mechanistic, mindfulness is just refers to only one aspect of it. So sadly, therefore, it becomes very mechanistic. But in the Buddhist practice, it's not that, that it is not the mechanistic one. It is the holistic one. It is taking the full, gamut of everything. Yeah? And that is what the right mindful, samma sati, yeah? Which leads to samma samadhi. Okay? Samma sati, samma samadhi. Okay. Wow, excellent. So let's actually pause for a moment because we have been sitting for 1 hour. So maybe it is time for us to stand up. In the retreat, we really hope to do some kind of physical movements as well, because it's rather important. Yeah. Our bodies get too stiff if we actually sit long hours, and you will say, oh, this man came from UK and we had a retreat, now I can't even get up, Okay, so let's actually do a little bit of stretching, yeah? And when you actually do some, stretching, you should also be, combining that awareness part, and that is the most beautiful thing. A meditator never loses the mind. Okay, so let's actually, just stretch our hands, and being aware of the movement. Okay, and as you breathe, so just hold the breath and fill the lungs with air. Okay, and one more, right? Okay. So your lungs are healthy actually. you know. So longer you hold the breath hold is wonderful. You know, try to actually increase the intake of oxygen. Holding the breath. Yeah, it really helps to hold the breath. Okay, so okay, one more time. As you actually move, thank you. So, just actually keeping the mind with the body movement. It takes a bit of effort to do that. Okay, like. Okay, so there are a few other little stretches like, like holding a bowl. Just hold the bowl like this, yeah, and then bring your hands up to here, yeah, and then move it away like that, and then just stretch. These are kind of, stretching. Yeah? Okay. So, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Yeah. So, have you learned any qigong? How? No. Okay. So, stretches like this. These are really good. Twisting your body. Yeah, like that. Starting from here and then coming upwards. If you want to slap yourself, you can do that, yeah? For all the naughty things you have done, yeah? Okay. So, great. But the most important thing is, this is not just mindlessly doing it, but very much in connection with the mind. These are kind of very mental, movements. You move with the mind, and then it really becomes energizing exercise. Okay, it's really, really good, and you also have done the kind of a archer's posture. Have you done it? No? So basically, archer just plants himself like that, and then move the bow and arrow like that. Yeah. and then come back, and then you just do the same on the other side. Yeah? Do you want to try that? Okay, so just plant yourself properly, and then get your hands like that. Yeah? Just get in the bow and arrow. Yeah? Stretching. And then feel the stretch here. Okay. Yeah. And then when you're doing it with mind connected, and it becomes a really big art and energizing as well. Yeah, and then come back and then replant yourself and do the other way around. Yeah. Okay. So they will think that we are doing archery, Yeah. So, little bits of these, stretches are really, really important. Yeah? You want to do it once more, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. And just imagine yourself holding a bow and arrow, yeah? And then come back, and then you do the same on the other side. Yeah. And feel the full stretch. And when you do it mindfully, it becomes a really good exercise. Yeah? And you have also done the 5 animal posture. Have you done that? No? Okay. So the deer goes to the edge of the mountain, and he just sort of goes and looks far away. Yeah? And then the crane just brings the and then this is the bear posture. Okay? And then this is the monkey just picking up some fruit and offering it to the Buddha. And then the eagle comes and flies away. Okay. Yeah. Did you get that? Oh, so 5 animals. Yeah, okay. Remember, the first one is the deer. Goes to the edge of the mountain. Sort of looks far away. So you are stretching, the front part of your body. Stretch. Yeah? And then the crane, bring the hands, okay, down. And then the bear, swings. Yeah? And the monkey just goes between his legs and just pick up the fruit, and then they offer it to the Buddha. Yeah? And then the eagle comes and flies. Okay. That's a full stretch of the body. Okay? Very good. So when you combine it with the mind, it becomes a really good exercise. Yeah, full stretch. And it stretches your legs, stretches, yeah, you can feel it. Yeah, so keeping the body active and also being, mindful. Yeah, being mindful of the body, movement. It's very important. Okay. Now, so yoga And pranayama is really good practice, and it really helps support your meditation practice. How many of you do yoga here? Okay, very good. Few, excellent, yeah. How many of you do pranayama? Oh, excellent. Yeah, so, both yoga and pranayama are very ancient practices. They really help us to keep ourselves healthy, yeah, especially breathing, because as we grow older, our breathing gets shallower, right? So we have to actually keep tuning up our breathing. So even with less than 4% of oxygen, we can sustain. We become chest breathers. The breathing has 3 cycles, abdominal, diaphragmal, and chest. So we become chest breathers. So therefore, bit of pranayama every day is very healthy. Yeah? And you don't need to wear all these masks if you do pranayama, because it generates nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the agent which actually takes the oxygen to our blood. Yeah? So, bit of pranayama, anulom vilom. Yeah? So, do you want to change pranayama here? Yeah? Just do that. Yes. So, try to make some business. Okay. So it's bit of pranayama, those really help your good posture. Yeah. And then, I would really like to teach you how to walk. How many of you know how to walk? Yeah. Okay, if no one knows how to walk, I will teach you. Okay. Walking, that's a part of Buddhist meditation. Chankamana. In Pali, it is called Chankamana. Yeah. So walking is a beautiful practice. So I don't know if maybe you could we could actually we could actually walk in a circle, right? We could actually start off, and this part goes in this circle, and this part just goes in this circle. So we'll make 2 circles and walk. But the first thing is really understanding how to walk. Yeah. So the walking has actually, yeah. So when you lift your foot, like you have actually lifting, moving, placing, and pressing. Okay, lifting, moving, placing, and pressing. Okay, and as you do faster, you actually miss the movements, while you are aware of the whole process. Yeah. So the chankamana has to be done, with bit of care. Okay. So you actually, just in one place when you're lifting, okay, and then moving, placing, and pressing. Yeah. Now the 4 steps done in a systematic way. Yeah. So and the muscles that involves, yeah, all of that is really, really important. Okay. So shall we do a bit of practice? Yeah. Just being aware of these, lifting, moving, raising, and pressing, and the same on the other side. Come over and yeah. totally with the movement. And then you actually bring it to a natural, walking. But be aware of every step, as much as you can. Just mindlessly walk, and our feet is actually doing it on automatic. But here we are actually doing it with the awareness. What we will do is in another 20 minutes we will take a break. So before we take that break, perhaps maybe we can discuss our experience. And one thing that we actually have already clearly noted is mind training is a difficult job. But you have to do it very gently, slowly, without rushing, without pushing the mind. So, and that gentle job that you could actually liken it to training a puppy. Have you trained a puppy? No. In your homes there are puppies, right? So when you train the puppy, you actually always ask the puppy to sit down. Is he going to sit down on the first day? No. So you have to say, sit, very gently, reward the puppy for sitting down. And then one day, even before you ask the puppy to sit, it is right sitting by you. Yeah? And the same thing is actually true of the mind. If you do it in a gentle, more calm, more serene way, and it has the ability to actually work with you, very gentle, kind, very compassionate. So the Buddha, developed these two great pillars, the pillar of Maha Prajna, and the other side was the great pillar of Maha Karuna. Maha Prajna, the great wisdom, insight, and the other side was the great compassion. Yeah? So now these two pillars have to be developed hand in hand. Yeah, gently together. And you can't actually develop prajna without the karuna. Yeah? So this, Maha Prajna and Maha Karuna are the two great pillars, actually very nicely balancing the Buddhahood, the enlightenment, Maha Prajna, Maha Karuna. So we can only use the word Maha to refer to his, because he's done it on his own effort. Yeah? Maha Prajna, Maha Karuna. And combination of the two is so powerful. So powerful. When the wisdom is accompanied by compassion, when the compassion is accompanied by wisdom, it's fantastic. So the wisdom without compassion make you a cunning person. Compassion without wisdom make you a fool. So now just imagine the strength of the combination and the blend of the two. That's amazing. So, and the Buddha advised the monks to develop it in parallel. Mahakaruna, Mahaprajna, Karuna and Prajna should go hand in hand. And the entire practice has these elements, these qualities. So therefore, don't push yourself into, too much. Give the body as much space, it can. And when you go for a walk, you after a meal, you want to go for a walk, don't you? When you go for a walk, just don't go for a walk. Just go for a mindful walk. That's the mind is right intact, combined, encompassed. So that way, that walk is a meditation. It's a meditative walk. You see? So meditative talk. Now this is a meditative talk. Because see, I'm actually trying to communicate to you, encoding my ideas into, sentences, utterances, and you are decoding it. So this is a meditation. So meditation is not something that you do on a cushion alone. So it needs to permeate, into every aspect of our life. The Buddha said, even the business you do in the toilet, try to be aware. Yeah? So, Uchchara passava kamme sampajanakari hoti. Alokite vilokite sampajanakari hoti. Samminjite pasarite sampajanakari hoti. Yeah? So, Yata yata kayo panihito hoti tata tatanam pajanat. Just whatever the position you are in, you are fully aware and awake. Yeah? So therefore, it's a 24/7 business, not meditation. Not just 1 hour of meditation. Like the Western world say, oh, I had a good meditation of one. So and also there is also a myth about a good and bad meditation. There are a lot of myths about meditation. There is no such thing as a bad meditation. Oh, I was just trying to concentrate, I can't concentrate. So, my meditation didn't go well. That is not knowing what meditation is about. You do not judge any sitting or any walking. Yeah? And nothing to throw away in meditation. Yeah? And that's the beauty of it. It's all encompassing. Now this is the right mindfulness. When you read the sutras, very clearly it comes to, limelight. It's just this holistic aspect of meditation. Okay? We have about 15 minutes before the break. Any questions? Yeah, yes, that's a very good question. Yeah. So if you are a meditator, if you really, it's a mind. Mind is also like a body. To keep the body fit, you have to move. To keep the keep the mind fit, you have to meditate. Yeah, I call it medicate or meditate. Sometimes you medicate. if you don't have a meditation, you medicate, medication. So, these exercises, are not just simply just exercises of, just being aware, but that awareness, the mind picks up those subtle moments of stillness, calmness, serenity, and it actually multiply. Mind has this ability to multiply, and that is got to be. This is why nothing is thrown away. I told you about my meditation, about 20 years ago. Doing a 10-day retreat was like a heavy duty work I've never wanted to do. But then as I went alone in my second retreat, third retreat, fourth, fifth, that putting myself into it, and I just saw the real benefits of it. It really helps, into your education, work, lot of things you do. It just, in everything you do, your meditation is there. It's a big friend. So, dementia, you can really delay the onset of dementia by doing meditation, because you are exercising your mind, and that exercise is, really healthy, and it is, turning the brain cells. A lot of people have actually found that we actually develop kind of certain parts of the gray matter in the brain, and Richie, what's his name? There's a brain scientist in America who has done really very clear evidence to show. So a lot of people in the US, there are about 8,000 peer-reviewed articles being published about the meditation, benefits of meditation, and in particular in delaying dementia. The more you exercise, these practices really help keep, your memory, memory. To give you an example, a venerable monk who has lived here in this Maha Vihara, Bante Ji, he's in 90, he just celebrated 97, and his memory was like, razor sharp, really. And then some of the Pali Sutras, how he memorizes. And so the meditation actually increases your memory, and it delays the mental, as you know, the stress is a big disease in the modern world. Anxiety, stress, depression, and a lot of people. Now, Oxford Mindfulness Center did a research, and they found, what did they find? They found 390 million people are on antidepressants. Now, this is pre-COVID. Just before COVID, 390 million people were on antidepressants. Diazepam, all the stuff that you take for depression. So meditation, it's free, and it's virtually no side effects. So coming to a retreat like this on a day, and being in there and practicing and putting yourself into it, you're really gaining physical, mental, overall health. And it's actually much more than going to a gymnasium and so on. So just don't underestimate the power of a retreat. Okay, it can be so relaxing, and you are learning many things. Your mind is alert and awake. Yeah, people are very interested in these aspects. Yeah, so I mean, for some 40 years, I have been very interested in mental health and well-being. Now, in the world today, the number one challenge is the mental health. The physical health is already looked after by our good doctors. Yeah, we don't need to worry too much about physical health. But the mental health, where do we have to go and what do we do? Yeah, and when we have a difficult day, problem, who do we talk to? Yeah. If you develop a meditation practice, it's a shock absorber. It absorbs a lot of shocks in your life. All the worldly vicissitudes, difficult days, moments, with difficult people even. It has the power to absorb, a lot of it. So, many benefits of meditation. And if you do it in a more like a Buddhist way, it generates your insight. And the Buddhist meditation is insight meditation. It's vipassana. That's the Buddha's contribution. So once you develop your sati, you are not actually just keeping the sharp knife just for keeping it, but you are actually using it as and when needed. And sometimes you are unaware of your mind using that. The mind's ability to extrapolate, do loads of amazing things. Yeah, that comes very naturally. So, so it's not just physical diseases and you delay, mental diseases, but it's also overall health of happiness as well. Yeah? Are you okay with that? Yeah? Okay. Any more questions?
Yes. Just now I was doing the walking meditation, right? So let's say when my mind stray away, should I stop and reflect, thought, or I just continue to focus on my walking? Thank you.
Yeah. So what do you do when the thoughts kick in? And we are in meditation. We are not really suppressing the thoughts. One thing we realize is that thoughts are not facts. Number one is thoughts are not facts. Thoughts just come and go. So therefore we really do not entertain them. And when they are useful, and we are transforming the quality of the thoughts in the process, rather than letting the thoughts run their own department. We are actually now, the meditation is helping to transform the thoughts. So there is a transformation taking place within. Yeah. So when the thoughts come in, so therefore just don't push them away. Just simply let them come and be aware of them. If they are useful thoughts, good thoughts, okay, that's fine. So let them do their own course. But if they are kind of just comments, some negative thoughts, let them go. Let them go. It's kind of a filtering. There's a process of filtering of thoughts taking place. So the more now you will see a meditator or meditation help us to develop positive attitudes, positive thoughts. So if you were generating like 80% of negative thoughts, it will just drop down to 70%, 60%. And then there will be a time, there's actually a balancing of thoughts like 50-50. And then slowly you see the positive thoughts winning over. Okay? Now this is something a meditator really experience. So the transformation happens naturally. We can't push it. We can't we can't say, okay, I'm going to do this, like fast track. No, that doesn't happen. So it's actually letting the process takes its own course. Yes? Does that make sense? Yeah. So one of the other thing about this it just occurred to me, a telomere. Have you heard about a cell membrane called telomere? So John Kabat-Zinn, he's come from a medical background. He talks about actually how the brain, how the cells, our bodies decay. Yeah, bodies really fast decay, but the meditation has a power to hold the cells. The telomere is a cell membrane which really holds the cell. So you will see if meditation is a part of your daily practice, you don't look your age. so you can actually stop aging, yeah, even without anti-aging creams, So it really does work, because the less anxiety. Now, if you just sit down and just for 5 minutes, relax the body, relax the mind, 60-70% of your body ailments disappear, and negative stuff in the body can't be active. So when we die, all the microbes, bad things really attack our bodies. That's why very fast we have to do something about our bodies, right? So the same way, when the negative thoughts come to us, it really pulls us in a bad direction. So holding the positive thoughts, holding a meditative balanced mind can be so effective, so healthy. Yeah? On that positive note, let's take a break for lunch. I mean, it says 11. Yeah, so it says 11 o'clock practice, and then you have, we take a short break, okay, till our lunch. Simply, you just practice your walking and other things, whatever you have been, learning in this session. So put that into practice.